Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Today we're going to talk about a festival that's going on in London called the Notting Hill Carnival.
Actually, Notting Hill Carnival was in the news last year or the year before. And I know that they were having the people who actually live there were having to board up their homes and put, things around their gates and fences because people were climbing over into their backyards. So they had some, to steal things, to do bad things. So they were having some problems that way. It's too bad we can't just behave.
Yeah, they were ruining the spirit of the thing there.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll clean that nonsense up.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah, but carnivals are usually fun, and people
fun.
can get together and enjoy each other and appreciate each other, appreciate different races as opposed to hating each other because of the differences, So let's talk about this Caribbean culture that's finding its voice at the Notting Hill Carnival. Let's get to it. Let's read the entire contents of our lesson now one time. Every August, more than 1 million people flood West London to dance and celebrate at a street festival that is larger than any other in Europe, the Notting Hill Carnival. Today, this huge, colorful party brings people together, but it was born of a time when races were much more divided. The festival dates back to one night in 1958 when race riots occurred in London's Notting Hill neighborhood. White workers had grown hostile toward the increasing number of black immigrants from the West Indies, a group of Caribbean islands. Several youths assaulted black men in the pre-dawn hours, which grew into uncontrolled violence involving over 300 attackers. In an attempt to improve race relations, an indoor Caribbean carnival was organized the following year by a local West Indian journalist named Claudia Jones. In 1966, this carnival joined with another Notting Hill event, an imaginative festival created by the London Free School. This street party was more visible and encouraged neighborhood participation. The Notting Hill Carnival has been celebrated every August since then. It has not been without its problems, though. In 1976, riots broke out and some politicians called for the event to be banned. Gradually, however, its critics faded away as the gathering grew larger and more diverse, and the carnival came to be accepted as part of London's culture. Today, the Notting Hill Carnival is an enormous event featuring street food, vivid costumes, and Caribbean musical performers. The crowds are so massive that they spill out of Notting Hill and into surrounding areas. The diverse array of participants shows that this party has accomplished its original goal, a unity of cultures.
Okay, guys, we're going to talk about Caribbean culture or Caribbean culture. This is a word that is pronounced both ways. I think I grew up saying Caribbean.
Me too.
And then I went back east, and they typically say Caribbean because a lot of people back there on the east coast of America like to go there when it's cold in the winter and work on their tans. But either way is just fine. Just stick with one way. So Caribbean culture, their culture finds its voice. If you find your voice, it just means you're able to represent yourself well, you're proud of your culture, things like that. And we're talking about an area of London called Notting Hill. They have a carnival there that has been very popular. I was telling Tom before we started this unit that last year the carnival was in the paper, though, because of the big increase in crime. I hope they get a handle on that, get control of that.
They might indeed. And so, of course, we've got this phrase to find your voice here. I was going to say this is often used when we talk about musicians. Maybe a musician starts out and records an album or two or something, but then the critics say, hey, on the third album, he really found his voice. And now he knows what he's singing about. He's mature.
He has his style.
He has his style that is his own, and he's finally found his identity.
Yeah.
So I guess this carnival's been going on, but now it is established, and people are accepting this carnival as part of London's culture.
It sounds fun.
It does. I wish I had the time and the money to go there. Everybody tells me London is really expensive.
It is, but it's fun, yeah.
I suppose it should be. If it's going to cost a lot, it better be fun. But every August, more than 1 million people flood West London to dance and celebrate at a street festival that is larger than any other in Europe.
Wow.
The Notting Hill Carnival. So, yes, these people flood West London. Just like water during a flood, they flood into this area. Large amounts of people go into this area to have fun. They dance, they celebrate, and this festival is larger than any other in Europe. There is no other festival in Europe that is larger or bigger than this one. This is the granddaddy of them all.
I'm surprised because German countries, Austria and Germany, they have Oktoberfest, where it's a beer festival. That one's pretty popular. I wanted to mention flood somewhere or flock to somewhere, just meaning a lot of things or people going somewhere at the same time. Flood, you don't need to after it. You just flood somewhere. But flock, like a flock of birds, or lots of people flock to the concert, you need the to. So it sounds like a really fun festival to attend. Larger than any other in Europe. That's pretty big. So the Notting Hill Carnival is quite popular. 1 million people. Wow. And Notting Hill isn't a big area. It's kind of like a really cute neighborhood. It's not cheap to live there. It's kind of...
Where is it cheap to live in London? Is there any place cheap?
Well, you have to live out. No, I don't think so. You have to live pretty far away. But Notting Hill has really cute little gardens that, a group of houses will all share. It's kind of cool. If you want to see what it looks like, rent the movie Notting Hill with Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant. I think it was made like 15 or 20 years ago. So the festival dates back to one night in 1958 when the race riots occurred in London's Notting Hill neighborhood. So if you have a race riot, it means a lot of people are protesting, and usually violence breaks out. People are sometimes hurt by people, or the police have to show up to kind of calm things down. But it's usually, a riot itself is usually kind of a violent protest that police will have to get involved and maybe arrest some people, take them into the jail, get them to calm down. But this is a lot of people for kind of a small area.
That's right. So this race riot began way back in 1958.
Yeah.
And white workers had grown hostile toward the increasing number of black immigrants from the West Indies, a group of Caribbean islands. Okay, so if you know where the West Indies are, you're probably... knowing that they're in basically the Caribbean Sea there. They include the Bahamas and Bermuda and Jamaica and Puerto Rico.
St. Thomas.
All those islands there. I suppose even Cuba is part of the West Indies as well. So, yes, indeed, a lot of these people came from the Caribbean islands, and there, of course, are black people living there as well. I think in Jamaica and in Haiti as well.
Sure.
So they probably moved to London or something like that. And if you have black people living in London with white people, well, there's bound to be some sort of conflict there.
Well, some of it has to do with the immigrants being willing to take lower paying jobs. And so some of the residents there, the white men, were upset because their jobs were being taken by these immigrants who would accept a lot less money because they they wanted to, have a successful start in their new world, their new life, their new country. Things are much different now, I think. I think they get along better. So that's the West Indies. Now, during the race riots, several youths, young people, youth is usually a word we use to describe someone who's maybe 15 to 27. After that, you should really be an adult and act like an adult. It says here they assaulted black men in the pre-dawn hours. Ooh, it's terrible. If someone assaults someone else, it just means they're physically attacking them. They're beating them up. Sometimes with their fists. Sometimes they use weapons like a baseball bat or, other things that can really sometimes even kill people. So they assaulted the black men in the pre-dawn hours. Dawn is when the sun rises for the first time that day. Pre-dawn's probably 4 a.m. usually. So that's pretty awful. And that grew into uncontrolled violence involving over 300 attackers. Yeah, that's kind of a mess. There has to be quite a few people to call something a riot.
Yes, a lot of people there. So these young white guys assaulted black men. They attacked them physically in, about 4 a.m. in the morning or so, 5 a.m. before the sun comes up. That's pre-dawn. And that grew into lots of violence involving lots of attackers. So that's how this race riot came about.
Horrible.
And I think that brings us to the halfway point in our explanation today. So let's take a little bit of a break right now, but please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今天文章的第一句写着 Every August, more than 1 million people flood West London to dance and celebrate at a street festival that is larger than any other in Europe, the Notting Hill Carnival.在这里提到的超过100万以上的人们呢，在每年8月的时候会涌入西伦敦这个地方。Flood 当作动词，也就是指人潮涌进或者是涌入某个地方。他们会去到这个地方，就是要来参加一个某个街头庆典当中跳舞，并且庆祝它。而这样子的 street festival that is larger than any other in Europe， 在这里我们要加一个 other， 它是比起呢任何欧洲其他所有的庆典规模都还要来得更大，因为伦敦也在欧洲，所以要把自己排外其他欧洲的庆典，所以这里的 other 一定要放在句子里面，而这就是诺丁丘嘉年华。第二段的第二个句子提到 White workers had grown hostile toward the increasing number of black immigrants from the West Indies, a group of Caribbean islands. 第二段谈到呢，为什么会有这个庆典？当时也是因为 race riots 种族的暴动，白人的工人对越来越多来自新印度群岛这些加勒比海的黑人移民逐渐的产生敌意。Hostile 在这里当作形容词，怀敌意的或不友善的。对某人怀有敌意，可以加上介系词 to 或者是 towards。举例来说，他对改革持着不友善或敌意的态度，你就可以说 He is hostile to reform。而后面的 immigrants 则是指外来的移民的意思。举例来说，加拿大有许多来自欧洲的移民，你就可以说 Canada has many immigrants from Europe.
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's continue with our explanation. We're talking about the origins of the Notting Hill Carnival. Unfortunately, though, it came from some race riots, or at least started that way, which happened back in 1958, as we were just mentioning here.
Oh, Tom, I want to mention a phrase that came to my mind. It started off on the wrong foot, or it started off on a bad foot, or started off on a sour note. Just means something's origins weren't exactly positive. But eventually, maybe they turned it around, which sounds like they have.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't want to say we're glad those riots happened.
No.
But on the other hand, if those riots hadn't happened, then we wouldn't have the Notting Hill Festival. Well, maybe we would, but with different origins.
Yeah.
Carnival, I said festival.
Yeah.
It's actually called the Carnival here. But again, we're talking about these black immigrants from the West Indies and some white kids attacking them, etc., etc. Now, in an attempt to improve race relations, an indoor Caribbean carnival was organized the following year by a local West Indian journalist named Claudia Jones. So this reporter decided, hey, you know, we've got these bad race relations here. We've got white people and black people, and they're not getting along very well. So let's try to do something that we can actually enjoy together as opposed to attacking each other.
Yeah.
So this was in an attempt to improve race relations. So an attempt here just means you want to try to do this. Trying to improve race relations, this reporter said, hey, let's do something positive. Let's have this carnival, but it would be indoor someplace, and maybe some big auditorium or some big gymnasium someplace.
Yeah, so they were going to hold it indoors, not outside. So this was organized the following year by a local West Indian journalist named Claudia Jones. So she actually is understanding of the West Indies culture. It's probably helpful. So in 1966, this carnival joined with another Notting Hill event, an imaginative festival created by the London Free School. So it's not actually something that was started from scratch. She had this idea, and what they did is they joined forces with a Notting Hill event that was already taking place. And it's described here by our author as being imaginative. So it was a very creative festival. And the school that was in charge of putting together this Notting Hill festival was the London Free School. Now, they turned it into a street party. That's what the Notting Hill event was, a street party. So, of course, they were outside. Carnivals are usually outside, guys. They're not indoors. I love carnivals. They're fun. So it was a street party. And it was more visible and encouraged neighborhood participation. So they got different races to actually participate in something positive. If you're doing something positive with someone that maybe you don't understand or you don't know very well, typically you end up being friends. You know, sometimes we just need to get to know each other better. And then those bad feelings and the prejudice will go away. It really does help to get to know people and, you know, what their culture's like, that they're not bad. Sometimes people have these reactions to other races because they don't understand them.
That's right. So get together and try to understand each other, and they're encouraging neighborhood participation, getting people involved. I remember part of some of the grades for my classes back in school was classroom participation.
Yeah.
Did you actually participate in the class discussions about various topics?
I don't know if they have that here in schools, at least, you know, through high school, because when I went to Zhengda, it seemed like my classmates who were Taiwanese were quite quiet. And I was used to talking a lot because you are graded on participation in a lot of courses, especially if you're in a business course. That's a big part.
Yeah, that was not good for me because I was kind of shy back in school. I just didn't want to raise my hand.
Yeah.
But they encouraged neighborhood participation, so hopefully lots of people who live in Notting Hill will participate or take part in this celebration. Now, moving on to the next paragraph here, it says, The Notting Hill Carnival has been celebrated every August since then. Since 1959, I guess, and 1966,
yeah.
when they joined forces. And it has not been without its problems, though. Okay, so it hasn't always been smooth sailing. In 1976, 10 years after that, riots broke out and some politicians called for the event to be banned. So we've got some more riots here. Lots of people causing trouble, doing damage and fighting and stuff like that. So break out means something bad started happening. Diseases can break out. When was it? The SARS epidemic broke out back in 2003 or something like that.
Or a lot of our listeners who are teens know that sometimes your skin will break out into acne. Yeah, when something breaks out, it's not a good thing. A lot of times prisons, there will be riots that break out at prisons, or maybe someone breaks out of prison. Anyway, yeah, these riots took place again, and this time there were politicians who were saying, hey, we just need to stop this event. It's just not a positive thing. They wanted to ban it, which sounds very sad. Just because some people can't behave, sometimes we all have to suffer.
Does happen sometimes, so I hope they kept their cool and were patient. And gradually, however, its critics faded away as the gathering grew larger and more diverse, and the carnival came to be accepted as part of London's culture. So they probably realized that, well, in 1976, maybe we did some things wrong, or there were a few bad apples that caused problems, but now we've learned from our mistakes and we can make this a greater event and there will be fewer problems. So, of course, now it's become more diverse, more different kinds of people are taking part. And, of course, everybody's having a good time, although, there might be problems again in the future. Let's not be stupid, okay? But, for the most part, it goes pretty well.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems last year in 2018 with crime and knife crime, which is gross. People were stabbing others. Be careful. So today, the Notting Hill Carnival is an enormous event. Lots of people, and what's there? Well, they have street food, which we're familiar with here in Taiwan, because we have night markets, vivid costumes. So we know that people dress up in really bright colors. If you describe a costume as being vivid, it usually refers to the colors. It's not like black and brown or even white. It's pretty, really bright colors that make people happy. And they've got some Caribbean musical performers.
That's right. So you've got all sorts of things going on there. The crowds are so massive, they're so large that they spill out of Notting Hill and into surrounding areas. Spill out, that means things are too numerous. There are just too many things in one small place, so they start to spread out, just like water will spill out of your glass if you tip it over.
Or if you have too much in it, right?
That's right. It will spill out. You could also say spill over. You could also say that. Into neighboring areas of London. I'm not too familiar with London geography, but, it goes out into areas nearby there. And the diverse array of participants shows that this party has accomplished its original goal, unity of cultures. So we've got this array, this variety, this large amount of participants. And, of course, it's showing this unity of cultures. Unity just means everybody's getting together and joining as one. All for one and one for all.
Yeah, it's just like UK citizens instead of, well, I come from the West Indies and I'm from Germany. At this point, they're all Brits, perhaps. This would be a fun thing to attend. So if you're thinking about going to London, you might think about going in August. They have very similar weather to Taiwan. In August, it can be very hot and humid, but it's beautiful. It's worth it. Plus, they have some cooler temps at night. Right now, guys, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher. Stay tuned.
接着我们来看到第三段，为了能够抑制这样子的种族冲突，第三段的第一句提到 In an attempt to improve race relations, an indoor Caribbean carnival was organized the following year by a local West Indian journalist named Claudia Jones. 为了要尝试改善种族的关系，一个室内的加勒比海嘉年华会就在隔年 the following year 由一个名叫做 Claudia Jones 的西印度群岛裔的记者来筹划。我们来看一下 attempt 在这里当作名词，有企图、尝试的意思。你可以后面加上 on 或者是 to do something 来表示你有做某件事情的企图。举例来说，他呢尝试着要打破世界纪录，你就可以说 He made an attempt on the world record. 当然 attempt 同样的拼法也可以用来当作动词，你尝试去做某件事情，就可以说 Somebody attempts to do something. 在这一段的最后一句提到 This street party was more visible and encouraged neighborhood participation. 后来这个街头的派对变得更引人注目，也提高了邻近地区的参与。不过后面呢，还是会有一些零星的暴动，所以就有一些政客希望能够禁止这样子的活动。在第4段最后一句提到 Gradually, however, its critics faded away as the gathering grew larger and more diverse, and the Carnival came to be accepted as part of London's culture. Gradually 逐渐的，虽然有政客批评，然而逐渐的，这批评者呢，随着聚会的规模逐渐的越来越大，而且越来越多元 diverse， 这些批评者也就示威了。在这里我们用的是 faded away， 表示呢逐渐的消失。到最后，这个嘉年华被公认为是伦敦文化的一部分。Diverse 是一个很重要的形容词，解释成为不同的或多种多样的。我们常提到的多元文化就可以说是 diverse cultures。文章的最后一句在这里提到呢，这个 Notting Hill Carnival 是一个盛大的活动。The diverse array of participants shows that this party has accomplished its original goal.A unity of cultures. 所以这样子各种各样的参与者就显示出这个派对已经达成它原本的目标，就是文化之间的和谐。这里的 array 也就是有一批一系列的意思。如果我们说有一系列复杂的经济问题，就可以说 a complex array of economic problems。而重视的这样的节庆就是 a unity of cultures， 在这里的 unity 则是有和谐融洽的意思。OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you all for joining us, and make sure you join us again next time for another edition of our program. And hey, enjoy the Notting Hill Carnival if you still have time to go. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie. Bye.
Goodbye.